Hello aspirants, welcome to the show, The Focus Line. In today's Focus Lines, we are going to discuss the Atmanirbhar Bharat. What is Atmanirbhar Bharat? Why we need Atmanirbharta? How we'll achieve the Atmanirbharta? And what are the issues? And the context set by the yesterday's Prime Minister's speech on the Independence Day very actively pitched for the Atmanirbharta. So, when we start discussion, we'll briefly see the what is the Atmanirbharta or self-reliance. So, when it comes to the self-reliance, or Atmanirbharta is about the ability of country to meet critical need. So whatever our needs are there, that should be met through the domestic production. And this is how we'll meet this need through the domestic capacity building. Here comes production, that increase in production, reducing import. Now, the criticism that this particular aspect gets that it is leads to the protectionism, but it's not. It's not a protectionism. Then what it is? It is just building the domestic capacity. It is based on the philosophy that local for local. So it is about the building the domestic capacity and local to global. So it is all about the integration with global supply chain. When it comes to the Atmanirbharta, it is depends on building the domestic capacity and taking the production or producing for the world. So make in India and make for the world. So these are the basic kind of the Atmanirbharta. So when it comes to the Atmanirbharta, we have seen now what is Atmanirbharta and how we'll achieve the Atmanirbharta. When it comes to the how, there are two aspects. First is the drivers. The factors which drive the Atmanirbharta, these are the economical growth, then technology, then manufacturing, strengthening manufacturing base, then it comes the export. So these comes under these are the drivers, but these drivers based on the certain foundation. When it comes to the foundation, it is all about the skill of the workforce, the productivity, investment in R&D, so this forms the base or foundation for the Atmanirbhar Bharat. Based on this foundation, these drivers will work, and ultimately the drivers will take to the Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now, in this session, we are going to see the sectors where the government is focusing, also the why we need the self-reliance and what are the issues faced. So now when it comes to the sectors, that yesterday in his speech itself, Prime Minister has mentioned certain critical sectors. First is the manufacturing and technology. When it comes to the manufacturing sector, he lobbied for the pharma and semiconductor manufacturing. So India is establishing 6 new units for semiconductor manufacturing. The government is building the semiconductor manufacturing ecosystem. It comes to the technology. He lobbied for the operating system, that India should build its indigenous operating system. Then the newest technologies such as AI, IoT, blockchain, etc. Then also he lobbied for the defense technologies. So this defense technology itself becomes the second sector, that is the defense and security. So if you all we are know that India is the second largest arms importer, and this becomes it increases our dependency on other nations. So to become self-reliant, we must focus on this particular defense and security sector. Then the third comes agriculture and food processing. So when we're discussing about the philosophy of the Atmanirbhar, we have seen the two aspects. One is the vocal for local, and second is the local to global. So we know the agriculture sector is dominant. Indian agriculture sector, we are the largest producer of milk. So this agriculture sector and food processing sector are given the importance to integrate into global value chain. So Atmanirbhar is all about the integration into global value chain in addition to building the domestic capacity. Fourth is the energy security. When it comes to the energy security, it's all depends on the reducing dependence on crude oil, natural gas that we are importing from the other nation. So for this, what is given important? That is the renewable technologies, renewables, the solar, wind, and importantly hydrogen. So these aspects are emphasized in order to become self-reliant in energy sector. Then also he said the nuclear technology or nuclear energy, where India is going to have wants to double its capacity. So nuclear energy has become very important from perspective of energy security. Then after that, the important sector he highlighted, that is the critical mineral. So when we were seeing the drivers of the self-reliance, we have seen the technology. And technology, the best forms are the semiconductor, where we need the critical minerals. So here also, we have to focus on this self-reliance on critical mineral. So currently, we have the lithium sources. In addition to this, government is exploring, bringing the blue mission, where they are going to we are going to search the minerals in ocean, that in our exclusive economical zone. Also, their government is actively exploring. It is partnering with the private sector to build this critical mineral security. So these are the 5 most important sectors that government is going to focus on in order to achieve the Atmanirbharta. Now, this is about the how we need Atmanirbharta and which sector we are going to be focusing. Apart from this, now the most important question is that why we need to be self-reliant. So when we hear this question, there are certain aspects. It is the important for the economical independence, and also from economical perspective. Also, addition to this, the most important is strategic and geopolitical perspective. We are going to see this all the aspect one by one. First, we'll see about the economical perspective. Why we need to be self-reliant. Economical perspective. When it comes to economical perspective, first important factor is that is our import dependency. When it comes to import dependency, if you see the certain sector like energy sector, where we import nearly 85% of crude oil. Also, there are nearly 65% of the digital component, the component need for the digital technology that we import. So it shows that we are heavily reliant on other country for this critical technology and energy security. And what is actually leads that it increase our import bill. And high import bill, it directly linked to the current account deficit. So trade deficit, if we want to reduce, then we need to focus on this self-reliance in these particular sectors, which are the import, where we have the import dependency. If we take the example of the trade deficit, the only with China we have the highest trade deficit. So in order to reduce this deficit, we need to focus on self-reliance. Second factor is building domestic capacity. It is directly linked to the increase in production. Increasing production means it comes under the expansion of the plant, expansion of capacity, and directly linked to the job creation. Why we need to have job creation? Because every year India adds nearly 1.2 crore new workforce, and to provide the job, to reap the potential of this workforce, we must focus on the job creation. So this is the second aspect. Third aspect is the economical growth. This particular aspect is directly linked to the resource generation. So in order, if we have the domestic capacity, the high production is directly linked to the economical growth. From this perspective, also we need to be self-reliant, and also it is directly linked to the our goal of 5-ton economy. So from this perspective, this Atmanirbhar is very crucial. After this, the most important is the integration into global value chain. So there is example of this mobile phone, smartphone manufacturing, where in 2013-14, we were exporting the smartphones worth of $0.3 billion. And now in 2023 and 14, that last financial year, it has rise to the nearly $11 billion. So this is the huge increase. And this is why it is directly linked to the directly forex earning. And if you have the high forex reserve, then it means directly we are security against the forex volatility. So from this perspective, this global value integration into global value chain, it is a more crucial aspect. Apart from this, more important factor is that government revenue. So all this supply chain integration, the increase in production, job creation is directly linked to the government revenue through the tax and the other means. Government will produce revenue, and this revenue directly go to infrastructure development and social security spending. So from this perspective, this is also again one more crucial important that we have when it comes to the Atmanirbharta. Apart from this, the important is the achieving the microeconomical stability. This we have seen in very frequently. We see when the there would be a rise in crude oil barrel cost in the international market, directly linked to the increasing the prices in domestic market. So it increases chances of imported inflation. Again, if there is volatility in the global value chain, there would be plants are getting closer. So it is directly linked to the unemployment, inflation. So if in order to achieve the macroeconomical stability, we must have the this Atmanirbharta in the critical sectors. Apart from this, the major important is that our protecting domestic industry. When it comes to the domestic industry, from perspective we can see to the MSME. The MSME, we all know, it contributes nearly 30% to GDP and around 48% to export. The export that India do, 48% comes from the MSME, and these are the very vulnerable sector because of the competitiveness, the lack of competitiveness, and the cheap imports that we do from the other, such as the China. And this directly linked to the volatility in this MSME and domestic sector is directly linked to the job loss, income inequality because of lack of job, and also the loss in service social sectors such as education, the healthcare spending, and these are all factors. When it comes to economical perspective, we should consider this factor to avoid this, and our global value integration into global value chain. The Atmanirbharta is very important, and not only the economical factor, there is the strategic and geopolitical aspects are there that makes the that makes our claim for Atmanirbharta firm. So when it comes to geopolitical and strategic perspective, first importance is uncertainty. When it comes to uncertainty, you would have seen the US sanctions. Now it is the US tariffs. Trump has came with 25% extra ad valorem duty. He is imposing on our exports just because we are buying the Russian oil and defense equipment, and this is what is creating. It is creating uncertainty when it comes to import and export, our relations with other country, and it's also directly linked to the strategic autonomy. Because same aspect, last time when the USA imposed sanction on Iran's crude oil, that time we forced to stop the buying crude oil from the Iran, which was the cheapest in that time. So we are not able to pursue the strategic autonomy. Also, same problem we are facing now, where due to tariff there is the uncertainty when it comes to the buying the Russian cheap crude oil, also defense equipment. So these are the crucial factor comes to the geopolitical and strategic sector. Also, there is dependency. In order to reduce this dependency, for say this critical minerals, where the China 90% of the critical minerals are in China, rare earth materials. So there we are heavily reliant. If we rely on these critical materials, then obviously it will increase our dependency. To reduce the dependency in other countries, we must pursue the Atmanirbhar Bharat, the self-reliance in these sectors, energy sector, critical mineral sector. Also, there is more important part comes with that capacity leverage, because the having strong domestic production base and domestic capacity always give the increases our capacity when it comes to diplomacy. If you would have seen the China, that China able to bring the this tariff pause with USA just by leveraging this production capacity and the economical leverage, the trade leverage they enjoy with USA. So if you want to build this capacity leverage, or if you want to enjoy this favors, and when it comes to diplomacy, we must have the domestic capacity. Also, one important part is that Atmanirbhar Bharat directly linked to the climate change goals. So if you are all are aware about, the India has target of net zero emitting country by 2070, and this all comes through the security or the self-reliance in the renewable, also the other energy sector, the renewable energy sector too, where it comes to we need to build the capacity when it comes to solar, hydrogen power plant. Okay, and also the energy sector, we need to explore the domestic reserves based in the ocean. Also in the other part, like Kaveri basin is there, Krishna Godavari basin is there, we need to actively explore in order to achieve this goal. Also for that also we need self-reliance in this renewable technology. That's why from geopolitical and strategic perspective, the self-reliance becomes very important. Apart from this, these are the economical and strategic perspective, where mostly the government enjoys when it comes to the social development. This self-reliance is directly linked to the development, the people development in social sector. Now we'll see the certain aspect in social development, how the Atmanirbharta linked to this social development in the country. First is that the Atmanirbharta is directly linked to the increasing production and capacity building. So it directly linked to the job creation. So reaping the demographic dividend. So if there are more jobs, then India can actively reap the present the demographic dividend, that high demographic dividend we are enjoying. And also the job creation is directly linked to the reduce income inequality. Also it is linked to the inclusive growth, because having the enough money at disposal directly linked to the healthcare spending, the quality healthcare, quality education, and increasing the productivity, labor productivity. So these all things will be achieving through the self-reliance. Also the second factor when it comes to the self-reliance, that PM yesterday he highlighted that Atma Sanman. Atma Sanman means self-respect. So having the domestic production directly linked to the Atma Sanman. Why? Because we have seen in 2020 where we faced the Chinese incursion, the aggressiveness in China, we lost more than 20 soldiers in Doklam Valley, and still we have the high dependency. We are buying the Chinese product. So despite the getting some terrible experience from the China or other countries, we still depend on this. So what is happening? Directly linked to our self-respect. We are losing self-respect here. So in order to avoid this, we must have the self-reliance. Also, it is also linked to the other social sector benefit, like women empowerment. We have seen the government is coming with have the sectoral sectors in target. So when it comes to the agriculture and animal husbandry, so where the large scale women, particularly rural women, involves in this sector. So if you integrate these sectors into global and build the self-reliance in this particular sector, like technology, production related, cold storage, all these things, then it directly linked to the women empowerment. Also in informal sector, we know that around 70% of women workforce that employed in this informal sector, and this informal sector is directly linked with the MSME. So if the MSME has a strong production base, then directly linked to the women empowerment, the women's working in this particular sector, the informal sector and the MSME. So these are the benefits, and the most important benefit, that is the goal of achieving developed country, developed or Viksit Bharat by 2047. So how it is directly linked to these all aspects: the inclusive growth, the women empowerment, quality education, increasing productivity. So these are aspects related to directly the developed country along with the economical growth. So this is why from economical, strategic, geopolitical and social development perspective, Atmanirbharta is very crucial. Now, if you see this Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan that we're actively pursuing, it is also prone to the such challenges. Some important challenges, if you see, these are: first is the skill mismatch. So first challenge that Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan will face, that is the skill mismatch. So there is data given by the NASCOM, which says that nearly 47% of our graduates are unemployable. Also, there is data given by NSDC, the National Skill Development Corporation, which says that only around the 4.7% of the workforce is formally having the formal skill. So this is the crucial data that we have. That is the skill mismatch. That is the major issue that we are going to face. Second is the R&D spending, that is research and development, where India spends just 0.7% compared to the China, which spend 2.4% on R&D. So when it comes to the R&D, we have seen that the technology is going to be crucial part of the Atmanirbhar Bharat, and in order to achieve the self-reliance, the Atmanirbhar and technology, we must increase the spending in R&D sector. Apart from this, major important challenges: infrastructure bottleneck. We have seen when it comes to the quality of infrastructure, we have seen the many collapse of infrastructure, be it the airport roof in Delhi, the expressways. Okay, so the quality of infrastructure is the concern. Then also the testing pads. This is directly linked to the semiconductor ecosystem. The testing pads that are not available. Also the changing pace of technology, that the technology in semiconductor is changing day by day. So in order to become relevant in technological development, we must have the own testing pads. Also, we have the logistic sector, which is ineffective, where when it comes to India, it is cost around 14% of logistic cost, and also when compared to a developed country, which is around 9 to 10%. So that is the huge portion of the value chain we spend here only in logistics sector. So these are the crucial challenges. Also, there are the challenges like reforms, particularly in the land reforms and also the labor reforms. So these factors are avoiding us to take the benefit of many global initiatives, like China Plus One initiative is there, where due to this aspect we are not able to reap the benefit. Also, another major factor is the capital requirement. We have the startup ecosystem, but when it comes to the interest rate in India, it is around the 10 to 12%, and compared to the advanced country, it is around the 2 to 4% in advanced economies. So here we are going to face the major challenges, that capital for the startups and other manufacturing system in developed country, capital is easily available, but in India, due to high cost of interest, it is putting the constraint on this development of the startup ecosystem. Then again, next challenge is the weak manufacturing base, where we have the manufacturing sector, which contribute around the 70% to GDP or GVA, compared to the other country like South Korea. If you see, it is around the 28%. China, it also goes around 25%. So when compared to these countries which have the strong manufacturing zone, we are lacking in this aspect. Then the major important factor that comes when it comes to the bureaucratic cholesterol, the red tapeism, that is evergreen challenge that Indian economy, or when it comes to turn the investments into actual uh, job growth or other benefits. The important challenge we face is that bureaucratic cholesterol or regulatory cholesterol. So here we stuck much. Apart from this, there are the certain challenges like the constraint in WTO. It directly linked to the agriculture sector, where our many initiatives such as subsidy to the agriculture sector, also the PDS initiative that are challenged in WTO. So these are the major challenges, mostly are the sector-based challenges when it comes to the Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now, we have seen the challenges, how we will achieve the Atmanirbharta, what are the sector going to face. When it comes to the way forward, the government is coming with certain initiative, but where we need to focus more. First, when it comes to the domestic sector, so at two level, we need to see the way forward. First is domestic sector, and second is the global sector. Comes to the domestic sector, we need to focus on R&D, that is the investment part. Second is the reforms, that is legal reforms in labor laws, land laws. So this is important. Third is the governance related. So these are the areas where we need to focus. Apart from this, sector specific support, such as PLI scheme is there, where it support the sector, particular sector. Same way, need to bring the scheme which focus the regions. So the identifying the potential of particular region and building its capacity for the export capacity or production capacity of the particular region, there is need of region specific schemes. And also when it comes to the R&D, there is need of the public and private partnership. So where through this we can boost the R&D level. Now, second part where we need to global level, we need to focus on two aspects. First is the compliance part, that the standard compliance, quality compliance, so whatever the quality standards that are set by the other countries or the economical zone, we need to focus on these aspects. Second is the free trade agreements with the countries, ensuring that security of our own industries, the domestic, and also same time we can boost the export in the particular industry. So target FDI and speed in concluding FDI, this free trade agreement talks. It is the much needed, and also leveraging capacity, where we are seeing India is the now largest country with huge market. So this capacity we can leverage when it comes to the reaping the benefits of the changing the manufacture, where the companies are changing manufacturing base. Also the while pursuing diplomacy, the investment related part, or also the bringing the other countries investment into our country, particularly FDI and the foreign institutional investment. So we can leverage our capacity, that huge that market India has. So this is all about, we need to know about Atmanirbhar Bharat, that where we have seen the what is Atmanirbhar, how the Atmanirbhar Bharat will be achieved, that target of Atmanirbhar Bharat would be achieved, and why we need to become self-reliant. Also, what are the issues? Also, the way forward we have seen. So we'll finish this discussion tomorrow.